welcome to the February 3rd, 2025, can you believe it? Meeting of the Reston Community Center Board of Governors. We are now called to order. First order of business is approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The next order of business is approval of the minutes from December 2nd.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next order of business is approval of the December 2nd board actions.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The next order of business is the chair's remarks. The thing that I am noticing and am trying to really hold on to is that time is going by quickly. We just need to make it through 2 years. We'll be good. We'll be good. The poem tonight, because you might feel like right now you don't have a strong sense of connection. This is called The Oak Tree. A mighty wind blew night and day. It stole the oak tree's leaves away. Then snapped its bough and pulled its bark until the oak was tired and stark. But still the oak tree held its ground, while other trees fell all around. The weary wind gave up and spoke, "How can you still be standing, oak?" The oak tree said, "I know that you can break each branch of mine in two, carry every leaf away, shake my limbs and make me sway. But I have roots stretched in the earth, growing stronger since my birth. You'll never touch them, for you see, they are the deepest part of me. Until today, I wasn't sure of just how much I could endure. But now I've found, with thanks to you, I'm stronger than I ever knew." Can congregation say amen?
Amen.
After resistance.
Next order of business is introduction of visitors. Not even a Boy Scout tonight. And there's no citizen input. Next order of business, the committee reports. First is the January 4th strategic planning meeting. Mr. Bowie?
Yeah, so we had our strategic planning session, an all-day session on January the 4th. That was attended by all of the board members and facilitated by Karen Cleveland. Great meeting. We really, there's a lot to go through, but we really came out of it with 3 things that we did that day. The first one was that we reaffirmed our mission, vision, and values as reflected in the strategic plan of 21 through 26. There was a staff readout on the strategic plan highlights, the trends, the challenges, and a review of all the participation data and the implications going forward. The second thing we did was we reaffirmed RCC strategic plan 2021 through 2026. We talked about the CAPRA reaccreditation and preparing for the visitation that'll happen soon. And then Dr. Karen Fitzgibbon and Sean Johnson came in from the University of Virginia to discuss with us the community survey results, which were quite fascinating, and we continue to work through that. We had a number of breakout sessions trying to clarify who our identity, how to educate our residents, and to clearly articulate the benefits of participating in RCC. And the last thing that we did that day was to direct staff for the 2024 RCC community survey presentation to move forward with the community relations and policy joint meeting that will be conducted on February the 10th. With that, we adjourn.
Thank you, sir. We'll approve both of these together. Next is the February 3rd Finance Committee meeting.
Let's see, so we went through, we had two main topics. We went through the monthlies for the end of December, and we went through a memo submittal for the third quarter. Look at the monthlies, no big surprises really. The revenue pretty well on track. You know, a couple things are a little bit behind where we might expect, a couple things are a little bit ahead. But nothing that's been surprising. Camp registration is just open, so we will see a big chunk in the rows associated with camps coming in probably in March. So that'll be coming soon. Of course, it's one of those weird things, right, where we get all this revenue that comes in March, but it's for services we won't provide until next fiscal year. And so we sort of end up with this weird piece there. Personnel, everything pretty well on track. Everything running really just a little bit below where we would expect them to be. Primarily because it's hard to hire people and it takes a while. We had a bunch of carryover funds that we had allocated to allow for the double encumbrance of having both the no longer future, but at the time, incoming executive director as well as the outgoing executive director sort of overlapping. But it turns out we're not going to be using a whole lot of that carryover money because the deputy director will not be starting until the end of the month. So we've got, so we have that savings as well. Operating costs are going as we expect. Of course, some things look a little weird because we get the purchase orders up front and we spend down off of them. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. But we are starting to see month-on-month savings for both electricity and gas, thanks to the energy utilization intensity project. So seeing about 25% savings on those, but we'll be able to see some more robust analyses of that in the months to come, and certainly as we go through the rest of this calendar year. Capital projects, a lot of stuff is wrapping up. I have to figure out the timing for the restroom renovation stuff and stuff like that. Probably the next big thing that is still sort of to be done is some of the switching over some of the telephony systems from traditional telephony to voice over IP. So it'll be interesting to see how some of that stuff plays out. And then looking at the fund statements, so that was pretty much it for the monthly stuff. Looking at fund statements, funds are looking good. The capital project reserve looks like it's going to be funded at a little over $5 million. The cap is $7 million. So we're moving in the right direction. We'll probably get a little bit more payback in once all the other capital projects close out. We have savings from the RCC on wheels and a couple other things that we'll be able to probably get some money back in there. My guess is that that's going to end up close to $6 million. And so that'll be a good thing to have. There is a letter in the handout section of your packets that is the memorandum being sent to the CFO et al. Laying out the budget. The overall budget as revised is about $50 million, $50 million worth of expenditures. Tax revenue, again, looks to be essentially on track. Some savings from salaries will probably will be fine. We won't be going over on that. So no really big changes there, but you can see the memorandum being submitted. The Finance Committee did pass a motion to recommend to the board that we send this memorandum, and so we'll need to have a board motion to this, that point as well. Any questions on the meeting? On the verbal version of the report? Obviously, we'll have the written version next month. I move that we direct staff to send the memo to the county's financial folks as written.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, is this, you have the original? I can sign this one.
You might have it, though. Yeah, you do.
Okay. Thank you. Next order of business is approval of those committee reports.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those opposed? Next order of business is the board member activities attended since last we met. We start with Jane.
I'll make it fast. I've been out of the country and traveling a lot. So we did the Southeast Asia trip, and we just got back from a week at our cabin in Deep Creek Lake, and now we're settled in for 2025.
Nice.
Nice.
Good.
Went to the strategic planning session. I think that's about it for me.
What you had the MLK things?
No, we were out of town.
Oh,
We were
see, I never know, I think.
we were on family travel for the
I attended the strategic planning session and also the Angela Rye talk at my luncheon, which was fantastic. She was really, really good. And lots of meetings.
Yes.
It's that season, budget season.
Lisa?
Well, I did the strategic planning meeting. I also was at, on Saturday, on the MLK weekend at Kathy Hudgens Center, where with RA and the community cleanup, and as part of the Sandwich Brigade, we always have a lot of people that show up. It always seems to either be a really rainy day or snowy day or whatever. It's never a bright day, but there are a lot of people in the community, so it was really good to be there and get a lot of things done for the Rest in Herndon area and for the shelter, getting a lot of food and clothing and toys. So that was really neat. I missed Sunday because there's a little family emergency, but then also last Saturday I was at Bricks by the Lake, which is something that's sponsored by or put on by the Reston Historic Trust Museum. However, RCC is a big joint community partner. They did a really good job for co-sponsoring and helping out. But we had 25 kids come to build kits. It's the fourth year we've done it. We have to keep it at capacity. Last year got a little scary, but it's attended by a lot of folks. And so we pick it on the Sunday or the Saturday. There's no football game now. They had one last week, but it's well attended. It was just a fill-in why we couldn't do the cargo boat regatta during COVID, but people liked it so much, so we've kept it. So that's what I did, and then that was it. I'm kind of gearing up for February.
Lots of basketball, and there's a special program, I don't know if people know about, but at South Lakes High School at 4 o'clock every Saturday, they have a special, the gym's open for kids with special needs. And my granddaughter and I volunteered, and she had a little girl assigned to her that had a stroke, and she was 6 years old. And her arm was like frozen here like this. And so Hannah had her put the basketball here, get her hand underneath, and she shot for a solid hour.
Wow.
And at the end, she jumped into my granddaughter's arms and she whispered in her ear, "I made 14 baskets. That's my new world record."
Wow.
Anyway, it's a great program
Yeah.
and one that kind of makes your heart.
I bet.
Good to go.
Nice.
Anyway, that's
Well, I did the strategic plan. which is, I say this now, remember last year I was there and I totally forgot everything we did, which is why I missed the name, whatever. And I was with the orchestra on the Saturday night, and then Sunday introduced Angela. And it was, that was really interesting. We've had some people, well, last year, Reverend Barber, we had some people that really kept into you, and she did. That was really exciting. And I had the pleasure of meeting Hannah, who for some reason was growing up when I wasn't looking. Because I remembered her. Yeah, she came to the dress rehearsal for the orchestra with her mom. Yeah, very beautiful young lady, very articulate. I loved it. Okay, the next order of business is a very short report by the executive director.
All right. Wow. Thank you for that tee up, Bev. So in the pillar facilities, we had some really exciting things happen in January. We had our network switches and equipment at both Hunters Woods and Lake Ann upgraded and brought into county alignment. So now we have better internet connectivity and capacity at both facilities. With the EIU upgrades down in the boiler rooms and stuff like that, we also needed to improve wireless connectivity down there because of all the apps that are being used to track, operations, and so they have to download apps down there. They have to update, do updates and stuff like that. So we have to now not just the main floor, but even down in the mechanical rooms have to be really wired up. So that's what the IT teams have been working on. In equity, the 3-day MLK birthday celebration was a huge success. Paige Hernandez spent the day at Langston Hughes and South Lakes High School on Friday. And then we have the day of service, which Lisa spoke about earlier, and it was very well attended. And then the orchestra concert, and I listened to Beth sing at that concert, and then culminating with the Angela Rye and the community luncheon and the screening of Reston Generation Rise, and that was very powerful. I think most people stayed, even though it was really like snowing outside, so that was great. Under equity also, I am almost done with creating, last month I think at the strategic plan session, we talked about creating house rules, setting the limits on what RCC can accommodate in terms of our unhoused neighbors. So that is being circulated for feedback with staff. And so once that's done, I will be implementing that and sharing that with all the partners of the Hunters Woods Neighborhood Coalition. They have promised to help us amplify those messages and help us enforce them. So, very exciting. More on the equity front, there is a new Reston Strong facility. It's a day center called Reston Remakery that just went into operations formally today, located at 1820 Michael Faraday Drive. It's a daytime shelter, which I think is a welcoming amenity. We really need it here in Reston. But in addition to being a place for people to stay out of the cold and everything, it's got laundry and arts and prayers room and library, computer access. So it's like a full service type of amenity for unhoused, and they're getting a lot of support from the high school volunteers. So I'm very excited to see how that, hoping that they'll succeed big time, so we really need it. The community connections, we produced the Reston Martin Luther King birthday celebration, so that's a big one. Programs and services, we had the Reston Summer Camp Expo. We had about 250 attendees. We got a new youth and team director that just started today. The only challenge we had in January was a couple of our fitness classes were had to be canceled because the black ice at Lake Ann caused one of our instructors to fall and broke her wrist.
Oh.
So we had to cancel our low impact interval strength training and Zumba because we don't have an instructor. So that was in January. And then in communications, we finally submitted our first language access plan. Similar to like the equity plan, each agency is responsible for creating that. And it's essentially to make sure that we have standards and train staff within our agency to offer effective access to individuals who have limited English proficiency or any kind of access needs. So the example that you might have heard was we had the interpreter who provided sign language to the kids who were taking our swim classes. And then lastly, in stewardship and accreditation, we are all done and submitted our self-assessment report on Friday, January 17th. The site visit is still on the week of April 28th. We just launched our project team last week to sort of started going over all the different components and how to prepare for that. So that's on the accreditation stewardship. And then I attended a lot of county's winter weather conference call in the past month. 8 deputy directors interviews, pretty much all of the MLK birthday celebration weekend activities, and the Greater Reston Chamber Board of Directors annual strategic planning retreat. And I want to remind everybody that we have the Program Policy Community Relations Joint Committee meeting next Monday at 6:30 in the community room. I will be sending out a slide deck for our own agenda, and then the new slide deck that Carol will be presenting to our community members. Other reminders, please, if you haven't done your statement of economic interest, that is due in a couple of days. So I'm going to call Mabel over at the office of the clerk tomorrow, and to see if we have any outstanding that are not done. But we should have gotten them back in December sometime.
I don't
And-
recall
I thought
that.
we stopped doing that.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe we've done one in for.
Usually, sometimes it shows up at this meeting, whatever, or I don't know if it does come via email.
No,
Yeah.
it's a mail.
It's been a while since
a
I don't
mail.
remember getting
Never
it.
getting one.
Yeah, so maybe
So stay tuned. I'll be in communications tomorrow. But if I do find out that we need to get them in, please complete
come
them
in and
as
sign.
soon as you
Okay.
can. Beth and I will be attending the NVLA, the Leadership Fairfax NVLA Awards dinner coming up this month on February 26th. And that's all for me.
Yeah, and I forgot, I was at those deputy director interviews.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. Next, is there any continuing business?
I just have a question. The funding for One Fairfax, those programs, is any of it related to federal funding at all? No.
It's all general fund.
Okay.
That's the house tour.
It actually makes me feel so that it's so woven into our strategic plan, and we don't even call it DEI. So it's the most genius thing ever.
No, I just wondered if the county program had any.
No,
strings
they
attached
have
to it.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, they're not doing that at the moment. The funding thing is off. It's off. Okay, is there any new business?
Yeah,
You want to share some of your business? I guess that was a no. Okay. All right, make sure you look at the reminders down there. Like she said, next Monday, we'll be here for the joint committee meeting. And until then, try to enjoy the warm weather that's gonna come. and get ready for the snow again. Okay, until next month, the meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Well done.